Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Real back with another motherfucking review, man. Yo, check this out. So, if you are here, then that means you were, are, still is a listener of the Joe Budden podcast, right? And as such, you knew that Rory and Maul both took off, right? And despite Joe screaming on them, telling them, and if they start a motherfucking podcast, if they start a podcast, I'm gonna sue them. You know, he was really in his bag, but he didn't. He let them do it. He was like, I was mad. Fuck it, let them do a podcast. But I don't know if that was a good idea. Now you saying why? Because they shit is just so good that it's gonna blow out Joe out the water. That competition, right? No, he should have stopped them to protect them from themselves. That fucking podcast. Okay. In all fairness, it is episode 1. They haven't established an identity. And anytime you do your first thing, it's very difficult, right? YouTuber, TikToker, whatever the fuck it is you do, if you do it the first time, it's not gonna be the best, right? So as I listened, I lowered my expectations. And by lowering my expectations, it was still trash. Straight basura, okay? Okay, I'm not going to play clips from it, right? Because I plan on killing them, and these are the type of spiteful motherfuckers that's going to come in, report my channel, copyright. I'm not going to play any of their content. But what I am going to do is give you a really quick synopsis of what it is they was talking about. So, and please, when I get done, go check it out for yourself. First off, it was difficult for me to find them. Before that, I had to go on Twitter to discover that it was going down. So the way they rolled it out, it wasn't a big thing. Like, they just didn't give a shit. Kind of the same energy they brung to the podcast. So it was just a real, if you know, kind of get up. So I had to look for it. Then I'm like, okay, SoundCloud, what we doing? So it's on Apple. It's an Apple podcast. So you're going to have to go on iTunes to listen, right? They had it for about an hour and 7 minutes. And I said, that's perfect. Okay, I got an hour to listen to this. I won't have to invest 2-3 hours into some shit that I may or may not like. Because I'm going to sit here and listen to the whole thing to see. I'm going to give them the full listen. Okay. They started off, the beginning. They talk about their trip to LA. What they talk about their trip to LA? Like, oh, what good foods that they eat? No. They gave a once over, like, yeah, we were in LA. We went to a party. Then Rory discusses how Maul was fake laughing at rappers. Probably a joke, maybe serious. Then the conversation that spiraled from that was a discussion of VIP sections, right? Rory kept asking, hey, is Rockefeller the reason that the VIP sections have changed? And he asked it at first as a joke, then it got dead ass serious. I don't know where the correlation of those two things came from. I don't know what the fuck Rockefeller got to do with VIP sections and clubs changing or whatever. But they were discussing about how it used to be hard to get a VIP section. It used to really be VIP. Now the whole club is now VIP. Everybody's got a seat. And then Rory goes and calls it a Spirit Airlines type thing. You got to pay for everything that you want to do in the club. Like, yeah, bro, it's been that way for many, many years. So it wasn't like, okay, so we didn't learn shit from that. And they went on that for about a good 15, 20 minutes. Now, I'm thinking they finna say, oh, we met with them, talked with them, that we had this conversation. It was real nice. They didn't give us none of that. It was just like, boof, okay, on to the next thing. Then they got Baisley, Rory's dog, barking in the background. He has to tell her to shut up. Or him. I don't know if Baisley, I don't know. That's a very unisex name. So I don't know what the dog is. So the dog is barking. Rory had told him to shut up. They didn't edit it. They didn't skip it. They just left that in there. So you got dog barking. So Parks was very much necessary. They need to find them an engineer, right? Then somehow they went into a conversation about Invincible, right? I know what you're thinking. Like, what do you mean Invincible's great? Omni-Man? Are you shitting me? Omni-Man? Best superhero / villain ever. No. That would be interesting. That would be something I would love to hear them two talk about. a fucking animated series that I haven't heard anybody speak about Invincible. No, they discussed the 2006 film with Matt Damon. Somehow they got to polo shirts, then it went to rugby, right? Then it went to Maul not wanting to shit talk rugby players in case they press him in the street. Joke, didn't laugh, wasn't funny. I'm at like minute 20, 25, 30, no laughs, zero laughs. It's not one laugh in there. I'm not bullshitting you. Do it for yourself. They talk about Matt Damon. Then Rory is pissed that Matt Damon, it's a story about him when Nelson Mandela's in the movie. It's not a fucking Nelson Mandela movie. It's about the actual rugby team and about the guy that took him there. But he's mad at Matt Damon for winning it. And then they was discussing whether Morgan Freeman was a good Nelson Mandela. You're tired of me talking about it. And I just gave it to you real quick. Who gives a shit about the Invincible film in 2006? They just went off into this random ass tangent about nothing. I learned nothing from that. VIPs, Invincible. I was like, where the fuck is going? Baisley barking in the background. I'm like, okay. Right? Then somehow they go into like child pornography somehow. They talk about it. First, it started off with like the games we used to play when we were kids, right? Freeze tag, doing all this in the street. Then they compared it to what kids do now because they have cell phones. And then somehow they miraculously went straight to them all, said, yo, this 12-year-old dude from the hood was mad because they thought he ain't getting no pussy. So he's talking about how a 12-year-old showed him on his phone him smashing another child. I was like, bro, should you be saying this? He said like, yeah, he was showing us the video. I'm like, so y'all all entertaining the 12-year-old with the camera phone fucking? I'm like, that's child pornography, bro. Like, y'all should have cut. I understand. Like, when you listen to it, it's the context, but still, it's nasty. That's one of those subjects you just want to kind of go, if we're not finna get into, like, the conversation of child pornography and how it's dangerous and deadly and things we should do about it, maybe you shouldn't discuss it at all or mention it out your mouth because now you look nasty. Like, why wouldn't you tell a boy, well, put that fucking phone away, nigga? I'm a grown-ass man. I don't want to see no. Okay. They did that. Then Rory kept making jokes about beating your kids. Like, oh, do you shoot your kid? Oh, do you throw your kid out of a window? Oh, do you? And I got my ass beat as a kid. I'm not one of those, please. I'm not talking like, dude, and safely discipline your kids however you got to. I got no ways around it. Timeouts, corners. I'm a parent. I parent my kids how I do. God bless you and yours. But he goes into this beating children of different things and he's trying to make jokes. It is all of it's falling flat. I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to? Why am I here? It's just the driest conversation. This is how it goes. Yeah, so we were doing that in this VIP. Mm-hmm. Maul, oh, that's crazy. Or it's like, haha, he did a lot of self-deprecating like humor. You know how I'm the easiest to work with, haha. And then Maul's like, no, you're great. You're great. And I'm like, it was monotone. Nobody was too high, nobody was too low. There was no energy. Right? And then you see. Now, this is episode 1. Now, my favorite part, right? They get into music, right? So it was straight Griselda, straight Lloyd Banks. All of that, which is cool. I fucks with all their music. I like their music take. Didn't learn too much about that though. They didn't really get into a deep dive of it. It was just like it was mostly a conversation of who did it first. Who came first, chicken or the egg? Lloyd Banks or Griselda? Who started this sound? Who popularized it? Who gives a shit? I'm thinking he's gonna be like, yeah, track 5. He went crazy. Like, did you hear that bar? You know what they do? No. Then the last after that, this is my favorite part of the whole thing because it's almost over. I'm like, how long of this shit do I got left? So my favorite part is at the end, when the shit's about to end. He goes to say, we're not going to be like the last podcast. They don't let us know when the next episode going to drop, if there's going to be another one. They said they're going to incorporate video somehow when they're doing these. They're working on some visual content. Then they said, we're going to do things different. It's not going to be the same. Then the very next breath, they go and say, yes, I've been hearing about sleepers. Yeah, we're going to do sleepers. We're going to do sleepers. I'm like, that, but that's the same thing. Okay. He said, but we're going to try to find a new cool way to do it. So what I've gathered is that this podcast may not be a podcast at all. You might not get episodes on a regular basis. Do not invest your time looking or waiting for it. Then they talking about, it seems like they're about to be a YouTube, like it's about to be them video. It's gonna what they've been talking about is a lot of video of them hanging out, kicking it, which is please God got to be more entertaining than just sitting there listening to them too. So the podcast probably dead. I wouldn't think they would make it past episode 10 because he literally said we're doing this together, but some days you're just gonna get Maul. Like you're gonna get footage of Maul doing some things. You might get some footage of me because we're busy doing our thing, but we're a collective group. So it's a YouTube thing. It's not a podcast thing, but it might be cool. So I'll just wait for the YouTube shit. The podcast is trash. Damn. I mean, listen for yourself though. But that's pretty much my review. That's my wrap up of that. So if you want good VIP facts and good 2006 Invincible films about Matt Damon, a rant about that, child pornography, all that type of stuff, hey, that But I suggest you go do it. And then come back into the comments and be like, you were 1,000% correct. Because I know their followers are going to be like, oh, this motherfucker hating. I'm just keeping it a buck. But I'm going to still watch what they do. I'm hoping that they strike gold. This total bust. But like always, man, protect your health, yourself, your wealth, right? Your boy's out of here, man. Peace.